all today's participants. I'm so glad you guys are here today to be part of this conversation. As we continue to host more of these discussions, your feedback is valuable. So I also want to ask and remind you to take a moment at the end of today's meeting to fill out the evaluation form that will be provided at the in the chats menu, and as well as an email follow-up to make sure that you have that link. Your feedback is appreciated, and we do use that to form and reformulate each meeting as they come and arise. So I'd like to start the conversation by reminding everybody of our overall goals and go over the agenda. I'm going to share my screen. So the goals are to discuss and identify issues, brainstorm solutions, and share resources to current challenges facing recyclers in Indiana's recycling industry. The purpose is to facilitate solutions to help Indiana meet its goal of a 50% recycling rate while helping to spur economic growth in recycling markets. This is the first step in a larger effort to bring Indiana's stakeholders to the table, and is now a series of meetings. We have a minimum of 3 every year to help facilitate conversation. And again, just a reminder to please at the end fill out an evaluation form. Next, the agenda. Our format as of our last presentation has changed just a little bit. So from 2 to 2:30, our first half hour, we're going to take some time for introductions, celebrations, and challenges within your organizations. I will start by calling on those who raise their hand and then move on to my participant list to ask as many of those attending as possible to introduce and share something with us today. I will do this until about 2:30, when I will introduce our guest speakers from RecycleForce, Andrew King and Krista Carlino, who will talk to us a little bit about their business and the efforts, their recycling efforts that they have. Then that will be followed up with a Q&A session for RecycleForce, as well as we will end it with some state updates from items recycling staff on current funding and other updates in the recycling world. With that, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to ask for those who would like to start by introducing themselves. I'm just asked for a quick introduction, who you are, what company do you work for, maybe share then some successes or challenges that you have as well. So anybody want to go ahead and raise their hand and share with us, I'd appreciate that. If I don't get any hands raised, then we will go ahead and move on to just going down the list. I do see some now. We will go ahead and start with Stephen Frankowski. Everybody has permissions to go ahead and unmute and unlock their camera. So Stephen, if you would like to introduce yourself and share, go right ahead.
Thank you, and hi everyone. My name is Stephen Frankowski. I'm the controller at ReElement Technologies. We are a Fishers-based innovative critical mineral refining company working primarily in end-of-life batteries, end-of-life magnets, manufacturing scrap, other waste material. We are expanding operations into Marion, Indiana, as well as Eastern Kentucky to solve these problems in the domestic supply chain. So those are pretty big successes so far, and some challenges for us. We're a small startup team, so trying to keep up with the changing rules and regulations regarding recycling, environmental protection, where we classify and, how we monitor those rules and regulations is probably our biggest challenge right now.
All right, thank you. Next, I have Patrick Cotter. Patrick, if you'd like to unmute yourself and share with us, go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Patrick Cotter. I'm the environmental manager at Amtrak's Beech Grove Maintenance Facility. We maintain Amtrak's fleet of passenger trains and locomotives. We recycle pretty much everything we can right now as far as metal, cardboard, and paper and wood. Challenge we have that I came for today is basically we're having a challenge getting rid of um, uh, foam mattresses and foam from car seats or seats themselves. So we're looking for a way to get rid of those or to recycle those instead of landfilling them. That's it.
You. Do we have anybody else that would like to share? Yes, we do. Fabulous. Michelle Meek.
Hi, I'm from Miller Waste Mills. We're in northeastern Indiana, and we are a textile recycling company. We procure textiles that are considered scrap and waste to save out of landfills. We do gather in bulk, and we have specific types we use. But we always tell companies we don't want what can be donated or reused. We want the true textile waste and saving it from landfills.
That's great. Yeah, I haven't heard of too many textile recyclers in Indiana, so that's a great resource that I wasn't aware of. And I'm always looking for, those textile waste myself. So I'm going to keep your name in mind. Thank you. Let's see here. This, I am not sure your name. It says solid waste educator. Go ahead. Oh, you are still on mute.
So
I can hear you now. Oh, you muted again.
okay.
There you go.
My name is Amelia Braga. I work for the Boone County Solid Waste Management District in Indiana, and I'm an educator and outreach coordinator for the district. What I do is basically education. I go to schools, libraries, farmers market, public events. We go and take information and try to educate the public on recycling and sustainability and water quality and around those lines.
Fabulous. You have any celebrations that you'd like to share or particular issues that you've been having?
You asking? Well, we have had a lot of good feedback on our programs. We feel that the public is really open and really want to understand more how to do. Everybody wants to do the right thing. And sometimes they don't know what, because it changes depending where they live, and mostly with difficult to dispose materials. We have the Talks Drop Day here. We have 2 a year, and we try to get people to come and understand and bring. We publicize that a lot. We have a lot of publicity on social media. So our role here is educate and tell them where resources are. For example, things that we know, there is this in India. So one question I keep having is that why don't we recycle styrofoam in Indiana? And people can't believe. I said, well, sorry, you have to put in the trash. We don't,
Sure.
unless you can take, to, to places, and then I gave them information. So, but it's in a small scale. So really, once we get the public involved, they want to know details, they want to do the right thing. So it's, yeah.
That's great, Amelia. Yeah, it's always good to know the public is trying, and now we
Yeah.
got to provide those resources and find solutions to provide those resources. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
Thank you for sharing. Next, I have Dan Fay. You want to introduce yourself and share either a celebration or a challenge or both?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Fay. I work for a company called Oscar Winsky Company. We're a metal recycler, plus we're a metal service center. So being a metal recycler, we try to recycle everything we have. Some of the challenges that we have are when we're recycling metal, sometimes there's a byproduct like a wire coating or something like that. And we try really hard not to dispose of anything, but it can be really challenging trying to find some of these homes for some of these new streams. The successes I think we have is our commitment from our ownership that really wants to thrive for being known for a recycling company. So it's just every day is a little bit of a challenge, but every challenge you overcome is definitely a good hurdle to help other people along the way. So thanks for having this meeting.
Great. Yeah, you're welcome. Dan, we do have a grantee currently with the Recycling Market Development Grants that is putting in machinery that's supposed to be able to capture that wire coating on things. So we can always connect later if you want to connect with that business as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Very much so. So thank you.
Yeah, you should be able to. I'll at one point put my contact in the chat, and you can just send me an email and we can connect.
Thank you.
So, All right. I have Christopher Cerrone. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Sorry.
Oh, you did, Dan. A nice job.
Yes.
And thanks as always for holding these very informative sessions. Really appreciate it. So I'm with Novelis, which is the world's largest recycling and roller of aluminum. We're proud to have a light gauge rolling and coiling facility in Terre Haute. And I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that fairly recently the General Assembly passed a House resolution acknowledging the importance of the critical material aluminum, as well as the importance of aluminum recycling. We were obviously very pleased to see that Tanya Pfaff, who's the representative in the House, spearheaded the resolution. So we're very happy with her leadership on this particular topic, which is an important topic. Our hope now, of course, is that it spurs some interesting and creative public-private partnerships and perhaps even some new policy incentives to increase the recycling rates for aluminum in central Indiana and Indiana writ large. Those rates are fairly low, so there's a lot of room for improvement. We're looking forward to being part of that success story in the months and years to come. But I did want to share that. Thank you.
Thanks, Christopher. No, I appreciate that. And it is great to hear that there's support out there through our legislators and others to help, support that recycling market that we are trying to build here in Indiana. So would anybody else like to introduce themselves, share some celebrations, challenges, even if you're looking for connections? Christopher mentioned building those public-private partnership opportunities. And I always hope that through this networking and sharing that we can start finding those kinds of opportunities and connections as well. And since I do not have any other hands raised, I'm going to go through my participant list and just started asking you guys. We have about 10 more minutes of introductions to introduce yourself. So I'm going to start with Stephanie Westbrook. You'd like to introduce yourself, please? Yeah.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, my name is Stephanie Westbrook. I'm the Executive Director for Decatur County Recycling. And I'm currently getting ready. We're having our big Tox Away Day. That's once a year that we do in September, where we take tires and all of our household waste collection. It's a pretty big event here in Decatur County because we do not have a permanent drop site. So everybody kind of has to hoard all their stuff until our event. So that's kind of a challenge. I wish we could get something built. So we had something, that would make it more convenient, increase recycling. But right now, that's what we do. So we're getting ready for that. And we have Clean Sweep is going to be coming to Decatur County, and they're going to be doing a pesticide event. And they partnered with COVA. So I think that's another great opportunity for our county to get rid of some of those chemicals. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Great. Thank you. That sounds great. I really, there's been now we've had a couple of the solid waste management districts introduce themselves, and I know we have a few more on their lines, and I cannot say enough about the work that you guys do throughout the state to help advance recycling and provide those resources to our communities out there. Even whether it's in your limited capabilities as a one-time event collections, or if it's a permanent drop-off, all those resources are needed. So thanks again. Let's go ahead and have Rusty McLean, if you're available to unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Hello. I'm Rusty McLean, Regulatory Manager for Plastic Recycling Incorporated. We got a few operations here around Indianapolis, another one in Tennessee and South Carolina. Kind of combine the successes and what was the other one? It was either successes, challenges. That's the one. Kind of mix it together because being in this industry, I've only been here for a few years, and a lot of things have changed just in the time that I've been here, and just the unique people that you get to meet, different companies. They have their own challenges, and they all come here looking for, a unique answer to, the type of material that they're trying to recycle, the partnerships, and what can we do to kind of help them and be part of the solution. And so, and then even the level of due diligence that I see that a lot of these companies are starting to do, not just from people that want to be customers, but even suppliers nowadays. Like, everybody's trying to make sure everybody's, keeping everybody else honest. And so it's really cool to see and get to know more people. So it's kind of why I'm excited to be a part of these meetings. So thanks for having me. Thanks,
Rusty. I don't think, and I'm just going to say this because Plastics Recycling Incorporated has had a couple grants through RMDP, so I'm a little familiar with them than some of you guys. But they have some really interesting projects around automotive tire or automotive shred, and trying to pull plastic from that. They had another project where they pull the plastic from electronics that is hard to recycle, and are recycling that. And they have partners throughout Indiana that they are working on those projects with, such as OmniSource and Electronics Recyclers International. So I think they're a great example to hold out there as to really working throughout the state and doing some challenges with harder to recycle materials, as well as the normal plastics and stuff too. So thanks again for being here, Rusty.
Absolutely.
And if nobody can see the chat, I did want to give a shout out to Jessie, as she just shared in the chat. I don't know, Jessie, if you can try to chat or not again, but Johnson County is getting a new recycling center. So they got approved for grant funding. I did see that in the news as well, which is really exciting. It made in the waste circles, it made national story. So we're really excited. They're a solid waste management district. And they do have drive-through drop-off capabilities now, but it's challenging and a little awkward. So it's really exciting to hear that they're going to be able to build a new center. Okay. And we have 5 more minutes. Who shall I pick on next, right? Angela Remus, would you like to go ahead and share?
Hi, my name is Angela Remus, and I work for Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations. We're an electronics recycling company and also an IT asset disposition company. I work specifically in legislative program management, so I'm pretty familiar with the Indiana EPR program. And yeah, we're just happy to be able to participate and provide responsible recycling to consumers and help manufacturers meet those targeted obligations. We've been running this legislative program for several years and have had always a really positive feedback from all participants for our programming.
Great to hear. Thank you. Patrick Bennett, I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Patrick Bennett, and I'm with Right Out Public Affairs. We represent various clients, industrial clients, Alcoa, Kaiser Aluminum, National Waste and Recycling Association, and some foundries. And several of those clients have varied interests in recycling. Certainly the traditional markets for plastic and aluminum, but definitely some interest coming on batteries, those kind of things, particularly the small batteries. But thanks, happy to be here.
Thanks, Patrick. Okay, let's see here. I don't know if I'll get this name right, but Gallery, and I know it's your last name. So go ahead.
Hey, Deanna, nice to meet
Hi.
you, and thank you for doing this. I couldn't attend the previous ones, but yeah, this is great. I am Gowrie, and I am founder of EcoCircle, and I'm kind of off of this place just because I work on recycling of organic waste management. So I am trying to start Indiana State chapter for U.S. Composting Council, and I am also the board member of Circular Indiana. I am resiliency coordinator for Earth Charter Indiana. So most of my work is revolving around the community engagement and education and outreach of recycling of organics and not organics, and also more into climate action and carbon sequestration and things like that.
Thank you.
The one
Yeah,
challenge.
can you hear me now?
Yes, Jesse, just a moment. I think we have Gowrie wanted to share
I
one
am
more
so
thing.
sorry that it popped off.
Yeah, that's okay.
I kind of gave a pause. I first thought I would stop, but then I wanted to talk about the challenge or things that somebody brought about the styrofoam and things like that. That is the biggest challenge of composting industry or organics industry is coming from Indiana, people ask me is like why it is still not banned. Many states have banned styrofoams because it's as long as it's not recycled properly, it's kind of not needed. So that is the biggest challenge I face when I go to restaurants as a consumer, basically. So styrofoam products in the food industry is the biggest challenge when it comes to contamination. So yeah, that's the challenge I face.
Yeah. Definitely, I can see that. All right, Jesse, did you want to go ahead?
Oh, hey, yeah, no, actually, I was just saying thank you, but also I was going to say with all, oh, nice. My dog actually starts barking and all these things start happening as I actually get through. But what I was going to say was it is sitting here, even hearing when people are talking about challenges and all the things, and thank you for the shout out to the Southwest Solid Waste Management Districts. But once again, you know, there are several companies that are on this call, which is awesome, and several lobbyists too, that also, you know, need to recognize that if we can't help educate the public and get them excited to even understand what we need within the manufacturing to be able to continue to make these products, we're not going to get anywhere with solving any of these problems. So all the support that they could give us in helping us do that, whether it be, you know, financial, education pieces, promoting, so forth, just helps us to continue. And as we build this building, that is certainly our hope, is to be able to incorporate more programs, but also just the realization that there's always going to be negative people out there. But the fact is that so much of Indiana's industry relies on the material that we in fact capture right in our cans from our residents. So I cannot emphasize that enough as we certainly move forward with this building, but as all these conversations move forward.
Yeah, you're totally right. That's why I think we can't emphasize enough public-private partnerships, education, and outreach when we are all facing these challenges. Because right, recycling is circular. There's a reason that it's chasing arrows, is that we have to have the manufacturers in partnership with the collection, for sure. And yep, that's all part of that recycling market development that I work so hard on as well. So thanks, Jesse. I have two more. We are at 2:30, so quick introduction, and then we'll move on to the RecycleForce. So I have AJ Johnston. You have your hand raised.
Absolutely. AJ Johnston, I'm with Arconic. We're a leading provider of aluminum sheet plate and extrusions. We have a facility there in Lafayette. And as Patrick and Chris mentioned, getting more aluminum back into the stream is so crucial for our industry. So thanks for putting this on.
Thanks, AJ. And last, I have a hand raised of Sasha G. Burns.
Hi, I'm Sasha. I'm from LaPorte County Solid Waste District up here, and listening to everybody talking about their issues with styrofoam recycling, we actually just started a permanent drop-off for styrofoam recycling in LaPorte County. We're partnering with Tri-Power Recycling, which is out of Elkhart, and they are able to recycle the styrofoam. I think they turn it into like that house foam board stuff that they put on before the siding, that insulating stuff. So but we've had a really great turnout. We've been doing them, had them come to our 7-in-1s for the past 3 or 4 years. And this past one, we had their semi-filled, completely full by 10:30. So we realized that we do still have a lot of styrofoam in our area. And we're happy to be able to finally start accepting it like all the time.
That's a major celebration right there. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Okay, and with that, I am going to introduce our guest speakers, Andrew King and Krista Carlino, excuse me, from RecycleForce. They are going to talk about their efforts and just the great transition, because they do have a drop-off for styrofoam recycling that they may talk about as well. Krista, are you there, and were you planning on to go ahead and share your slides?
I am here. I don't have the share icon illuminated.
You don't have it. Okay, let me see. Yeah.
And while Deanna gets that, I just want to introduce myself. Krista Carlino, Director of Development and Communications. Apologize, I'm working on a late lunch today. I also serve on our Indianapolis-Marion County City County Council, and we have a public works meeting this evening that I'm preparing for in between this. So thank you for allowing us to come out today. I've got the ability to share. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you. And my colleague, Andrew King, and I are both on this call. Let's see. Am I here at full screen?
Yes, you are.
Awesome. This is a picture inside of our warehouse. We are a demanufacturing facility where we're an end-of-life facility for electronic waste. We primarily employ and train individuals coming out of incarceration and also serve individuals who are unhoused. We provide wraparound services, employment training services, and our wages start at $10 an hour. We are a nonprofit organization. And we are currently recycling styrofoam. I'll let Andrew get into some of the things, but just want to let you know that due to a grant from IDEM, we were able to get some equipment to do some of our styrofoam recycling. And with that, Andrew, you feel free to take it away.
Sure.
I have like to mute myself as well, so forgive me.
I have a whole hour. So yeah, so our main focus really is electronic recycling. But you know, after doing that, we kind of started figuring out that we can recycle other things because they're parts of electronics, right? So like think about it when you buy a new flat screen TV that only lasts for like what, 2 years maybe. So you got a cardboard box, you got paper inside of it, there's film plastic, there's obviously the TV, which is e-waste. Styrofoam's also in there. So when we started processing more and more e-waste, we were also like, well, we know people that have problems with just cardboard. So why don't we just start accepting cardboard also? So when we moved into our new facility in December, part of that process was to purchase the styrofoam compactor, because styrofoam actually is very highly recyclable. Tri-State up in Elkhart is a really good example of a styrofoam processing facility. The problem that people run into with styrofoam is that it's so light. So you can only put so much on a semi and it can only travel so much. And then you start losing money very rapidly because there's no weight to the product. That's why a lot of people don't accept styrofoam. So what we did is we installed this machine right by our consumer drop off. It's where people can come and drop off their recyclables for free. And we now offer for their community to drop off styrofoam. And the machine, you can see right there, is right by the door. So we can take the styrofoam and compress it. What this does is this machine has a corkscrew and it basically shreds and screws the styrofoam and compacts it into these nice long logs. So now it weighs more, which means we can get more on the truck and then we can actually ship it to somebody without losing a whole bunch of money. Other than that, we like to also tackle problems that most electronic recyclers really don't deal with. An example of that was, you know, right before COVID, we actually helped process 250,000 children car seats for Walmart. If you guys remember, they had this great idea to offer a $30 gift card to an old car seat. They ended up collecting 1 million car seats, and we were one of the very few companies that could actually process the material because it had good plastic. There was also labor to strip down the styrofoam, the foam, the cloth, the seat belt. But then there was also a lot of steel that a lot of plastic companies couldn't shred through their machines. So we ended up processing the material because our shredder is designed to shred, you know, like a printer. So a little bit of steel in a car seat wasn't a problem. But we also try to look at other things to figure out, you know, what are people having problems with? And find solutions to recycle what most people think can't be recycled. You know, one of the projects that we do work on are batteries, right? We've spent an extensive amount of time auditing downstreams to make sure we know where our batteries are being processed. More and more electronics are actually have batteries in them. You know, 5 years ago, something didn't have a battery in it, and now the manufacturer decided to put a battery in it. So we have processes to remove the batteries, processes to separate by chemical, tape them so they meet all the regulations, and then ship them out to be smelted. It's gotten to the point now where we do actually offer some of that service to a lot of our corporate companies that generate batteries themselves and they don't know really what to do with them. We kind of help them walk through the process of making sure that they're doing the right things for DOT and separating them in that, and then we can offer to pick them up or ship them direct, depending on how much they have, really. And then one of the other unique things that we offer is plastic, because plastic recycling is challenging. You know, the EPA, and I probably need to get the new stats, but somewhere around 6 to 5% of all plastic in the United States doesn't get recycled. I think I said that backwards. 5 to 6% of all plastics do get recycled. So that's like 95% of it doesn't get recycled. And of the plastic that can be recycled, PET is one of the very high rates of plastic that can be recycled. We do have a PET facility here in Indiana. Polypropylene is another highly recycled plastic. We, as PRI here, I heard them talk this morning or on here earlier. They're on here. They are a great processor of polypropylene plastic. And HDPE is another one. But one of the struggles with plastic that a lot of people struggle with is that one type of plastic contaminates another type of plastic, and they kind of look the same, and it's very challenging to separate it. There's issues with, you know, the colors and the sorts and just how you separate them, and it's hard. So what we did over a decade ago, I guess now, it's almost been 12 years, we partnered up with Brightmark in Ashley, Indiana, to be able to take our e-waste plastic, which is a commingled mixed plastics of about 12 to 15 different types of plastic, to have them process it to make naphtha, wax, and diesel fuel. So they have a facility here in Indiana. We provide feedstock to them. So we also, part of that is we go out to other companies that have plastic that they can't recycle. Like, we don't want plastic you can recycle. If you've got polypropylene, like, or PET, like, reach out to the people here in Indiana that can recycle it. We're looking for the commingled mix. Nobody wants it. It's going to a landfill. That's the stuff where we try to get approved so that we can get it into out of a landfill to get it made at least back into naphtha to be made into plastic with Brightmark. There's a couple other projects that we work on too. I mean, we're always trying to look for unique, odd things that most people don't think you can or would recycle, if that makes sense. But at a core, it's all fundamentally electronics, you know, is the start of it. So that's kind of like a really quick summary. I thought, for me, I guess I should introduce myself. I'll put my info in the chat thingy. So I'm the director of inventory and quality control. My job is to find stuff to recycle, develop process flows, design equipment, or figure out how to recycle something. And then after, you know, developing those processes of the separation, I then make sure the product then gets shipped to the next processor, right? Either that steel that goes to OmniSource that's made into rebar, right? And stuff like that. So I've been doing this for almost 16 years. And I thought it would be helpful that if people had questions, I'd kind of open up the majority of this meeting to questions about things that you might have issues with, don't know about, or just wanted to know. Like, you know, one of my biggest questions years ago is why do they say, or when I say they, it's just in general, why do they say we can't recycle pizza boxes? So like, I called up the guys that I recycle my cardboard with that run cardboard mills, and I asked them, like, why does everyone say we can't recycle pizza boxes? And then they said, well, we can. And I said, well, then I'm going to start accepting pizza boxes. But like, no pizza, right? Like don't keep the pizza in it, eat it. But so we accept pizza boxes. So we try to go out and try to figure out why things happen, what is going on, you know, what are the myths, what are the things that we could maybe do a little bit different so that we can recycle stuff. And we work with a lot of our corporate companies to be able to increase the recycling rate of what they have. So, yes, Leslie.
Sorry, I have my camera off. Andrew, you need to update your website because you guys take so much other than e-waste, and the website still just says that you take e-waste. Please, we share RecycleForce to all of our residents, to businesses, that they can take their styrofoam to use, as well as PETs and HDPEs and the car seats. And so I think like making sure that your website is up to date would be very nice.
I will work with Krista. Maybe we'll make another page of like the other weird recycling things we can take.
Right, exactly. That would be perfect, because I just feel like I send so many people your way, but then I want them to get good information when they do, like, oh, I'll go look up their website. And I am really appreciative. RecycleForce is helping us out with all of our soft plastic. We've been collecting plastic bags and wrap for a while now, and we're really appreciative of that. We're recycling election signs too that are mostly polypropylene. And RecycleForce has been helping us out with that too. So those are great PR things to the community. Sorry, if people don't know me, I'm director of Hamilton County's Household Hazardous Waste Center, Solid Waste Management District, Hamilton County. And so those are two programs that we can kind of promote and get public to participate in. And if I could just take one other second, I wish that some of the recycling grants were a little bit cheaper, because I would also like to buy a densifier, but I just don't want to have to spend the matching grant out of my money. Like I almost like if a densifier is around 30,000, like can I only have to pay 15 and then get the grant to be another 15? So that's just kind of just my little soapbox. I will stop talking now. Thank you for having this, and this will be an opportunity for us to network and talk.
Thanks, Leslie. And we will take that into consideration as we design the grants every year. We do, I mean, we're doing our best, and we did have the lower 25% cash match now for the community recycling grants. So we're working towards that effort. I see a question from, I think it's Amelia, the solid waste educator.
Let me unmute. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
My question is about polystyrene, but not in the form of styrofoam, but containers, little yogurt. For example, I eat the Activia yogurt, and it shows it's polystyrene, although looks like people put that in the recycling. Same, okay, looks like it's plastic. So
No,
do you take that as well? So how that goes with your program?
Yeah, so that's a great example of how styrofoam. So like styrofoam can be polystyrene. It's aerated. It's light. It's fluffy. It's what we all think about. We can also they can produce plastic that is polystyrene, but it looks clear, hard, and rigid. Right? They can also make it so that it's rigid but also white. Right? So it kind of looks like almost HDPE plastic containers, right? So but it's the same plastic, and that's why the sorting process is challenging. We can accept it because what we do because we have a partnership with Brightmark, our plastic, we don't spend our time sorting, right? Trying to sort polystyrene from PET. Oh, we do actually separate PET. We're trying to help Coca-Cola get more PET into their program. But we take all of our plastic and basically we're able to put it all together because we don't need to sort it, because what Brightmark's process is that they are going to process it to make naphtha, right? So they're breaking it back down into the hydrocarbons.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, and it looks like one of our staff members, Jennifer Helvergold, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I said, thank you, Deanna. I just want to comment to Leslie and for anyone else interested in the community recycling grant program. if you can get someone else to pay the 25% cash match, we accept that. So just want to throw that out there. And I think Deanna's going to talk about the grants that are opening up soon, but I'll leave that for her.
Yes,
Thanks,
that's
Deanna.
where yep, you're welcome. Item updates. And that's exactly right. Another opportunity here. We have a lot of people at the table, both public and private, both from communities, solid waste management districts, industry, manufacturers. There's opportunities there, right, to partner and get that match somehow through these partnerships. So yeah, hopefully, you can continue connecting through this network and maybe provide some opportunities there. Any additional questions for Andrew or Krista with RecycleForce?
I can also go over a couple other projects that might spur some interest with some people that we're doing. So one of those is we do not accept solar panels, because we haven't figured out how to recycle them yet, but we are looking into solar panel recycling. It's going to probably be one of the largest waste streams in the United States, probably within less than a decade. There is a lot of glass. I would love to talk to more glass people about how to get it into a form that they could use so that they could make more product out of it. Most solar panels that I've seen so far, they do have a nice clean aluminum frame. And since we are fairly good at recycling aluminum in Indiana, there's definitely opportunities there. So that's a project that we're spending a good amount of time looking into, but it's challenging, right? It seems like the manufacturers who made solar panels did not really think about me when they decided how they were going to make a solar panel, which usually is the problem. So that's one project that we're working on currently right now.
Yeah, Andrew, and also just regarding the solar panels, at the last legislative session, they asked IDEM to partner with the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, and I don't believe that there might be another partner there to conduct a study on what the options are, and the legislature is kind of aware this is a rising issue that's going to be happening, and it's not going to be, it's going to be for every state. So Indiana is looking at the future of solar panel recycling and what, the options are, and looking at liability for, disposal at the end of use of these solar panels as well. So I know Tom Lees and Jacob Smicker of our team have been on that panel as part of that study and providing input and feedback. So I think that's going to be reported to the legislature, if not already, then in the next month or so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's a big waste stream. We're excited.
Okay.
So does anybody have things that they run across that they're just not sure about, that they don't know if it really does get recycled? Can it be recycled? I've done some things. I mean, some of the weird things that, we had, one of the projects that we're working on is with KIB, which is Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. They go around and they pick up litter. I'm looking at the litter trying to figure out, well, can I recycle the litter? Because it's basically plastic and paper and glass and aluminum and steel. Right? Is there a way to get that into a form that I can recycle? Right? So not only do we do electronic recycling, but we look at a bunch of weird stuff. We have a lot of products that are pulled off shelves. So it's expired. It needs to be destroyed. We do some things with the Consumer Protection Agency. So it's recalled products. It has to be deboxed. It has to be separated. And a lot of our customers reach out to us because if it's going to be recalled, they're trying to at least have the least impact environmentally. So we offer them recycling solutions for some, odd things. And I know a lot of companies also, I mean, like there's always an area of just like stuff we have that we don't know what to do. I've been called to a lot of buildings. The coolest one actually was the old Citizens Energy Administration building, 16 Tech or Tech 16, here on the near west side town of Indianapolis. Before they renovated it, we went in and, you know, it looked like a ghost town. It was like they worked one day and they left the next day. Everything was still where everything was. And it was left that way for like 10 years. And they were like, well, we're going to renovate the whole building. And it had everything in it that is probably sitting in your office right now. And they were like, we're going to throw all this stuff away. We ended up walking through with them and putting a plan together and helping them recycle about 90% of the material that was pulled out before they did demo. You know, so a lot of this is just kind of walking through processes and understanding what different product streams can be and should be. And that was pretty fun too.
All right. Well, I think it sounds like, oh, I was going to say we're winding down, but I see a hand raised. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Andrew, hey, I had a quick question for you. You were talking about not having figured out how to take apart solar panels yet and some of the other work you do assessing different types of products for recyclability. Are you doing any work with like APR or any other organizations like that to help drive recyclability up to the brand owners and have them be more conscious about how recyclable the items are at end of life?
So there is a couple manufacturers that I am working with now, because they are trying to put programs into place for their material. So like one of them is making a product and they're asking me about the different types of plastic that they can or should not use or use, and how that affects the recyclability of their product afterwards. So there's a handful of, there's another one here recently, Christmas trees, like fake Christmas trees.
Right.
You know, so a lot of the manufacturers, they're starting to think about it, right? And they've been referred to us and we've kind of talked them through like, these are challenges, these aren't challenges. And sometimes it's, well, you just have to kind of make it that way for it to work, right?
Sure.
But it's been nice.
One of the main, that
Yeah.
concept is one of the main reasons why styrofoam still exists, is because it's the absolute best material for doing some types of jobs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. And it's, I mean, it works as, you know, shipping packaging too. I mean, it's a necessary evil. It's just trying to figure out how we mitigate it and manage it the best as possible. And it's one of the reasons why we installed the machine. You know, it's one of the biggest questions I got. Do you take styrofoam? So the answer now is yes.
Excellent. Thanks for the answer.
Sure. But if there's no other questions, I mean, I've got my email address and contact information here. I mean, if anybody has any questions of anything that they're not sure about or that we accept or can't accept, or if you would like to set up a tour, we would love to tour you through our new facility that we have here, and kind of show you. It's a lot different than talking about recycling than actually walking through our facility and seeing the 3 semi-loads of the trash containers that we all have, you know, with the 2 wheels and the lid. Like, so we recycle those because I thought it was funny. They wanted me to recycle trash cans. So like we've recycled 25 semis of those. So seeing all the weird things that we can recycle, sometimes that helps spur like, oh, you can take this, or, oh, this can be recycled. We're more than happy to set up tours for individuals or small groups too.
That's great. Thanks, Andrew. So yes, everybody feel free to reach out to Andrew or Krista to get those scheduled. And I want to thank them both on their facility in RecycleForce and the work that they do. And just a reminder too, for those attending, that we're always looking for guest speakers for our next recycling roundtables. So if you are interested in being a guest speaker, reach out to me. I have provided my email address in the chat. And we're always interested in hearing from you and your efforts as well in celebrating what we can do here in Indiana. So before we wrap things up, it sounds like we're going to end a little bit early. You guys are going to get a little bit of your time back, but I did want to share my screen one more time and provide some quick, brief updates on what we're doing here with the state and in Indiana, and provide those funding updates as well. So you should be able to see my screen. Just one second. And first, I wanted to mention, this was mentioned at our last recycling roundtable. We are in works due to a grant from EPA, the SWIFR grant, the Solid Waste Infrastructure for Recycling grants. We have received money to develop a new statewide materials management plan. The last time Indiana had a state solid waste plan was 1990. So we're excited to be able to get these funds to contract with someone in order to implement a new plan and look at it more holistically from a materials management perspective versus solid waste perspective. So that contract actually was just awarded. It's actually undergoing a challenge period. So we're right at the end of the award process, and then comes finalizing that contract. So hopefully in the next, say, 2 to 3 months, once that contract is finalized, we will start doing this statewide materials management plan, which you guys are all our stakeholders when it comes to developing this plan. We will be having stakeholder outreach meetings, conducting them, and getting your feedback. So we hope that you will participate in that as well and provide your feedback as we develop and look forward to a future with a more holistic circular materials management plan for Indiana. Then with regarding funding, we have 2 funding opportunities. One's current and one's upcoming. So there's the Central Indiana Waste Diversion Project grants. Those have just opened up, and those grants will be accepting applications through October 1st. That's for Central Indiana businesses. That's Marion County and the surrounding donut counties. We have up to $3.7 million in funding with a required 50% cash match to implement projects that divert waste from final disposal in Central Indiana. And then we have our community recycling grant program. Those grants will open up to accept applications starting August 1st. That is for solid waste districts, counties, municipalities, schools, universities, nonprofit organizations, for up to $100,000 in funding with that 25% cash match for new or expanding recycling projects. Education and outreach are included in that as well. For additional information, that's just a really quick, brief overview. Please go out to our website at recycle.in.gov, and you can navigate from there to either the Central Indiana Waste Diversion Projects or the community recycling grants, and get all the guidelines for applying and eligibility on those websites. Once again, I just wanted to say thank you for attending today. We really appreciate your continued efforts and hopefully partnerships as we move forward on these grants. See, I just talked about grants. As we move forward on these discussions around recycling and waste management in Indiana. And then again, please fill out that survey. Tell me what you found most helpful. Tell me if you guys would like to see a frequency of more of these meetings, or if you would like to see a little bit change in the format, or you like the new format, and we can continue moving forward with that. All of that feedback is greatly appreciated, and I will give it one more second to for any Q&A that anybody still has. But if not, you guys can get about a half hour left, additional time back to your day. So I don't see any additional hands raised or chats. So with that, you guys, thank you for coming again, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Thanks.